Now, my two questions are, you were, after a reassessment, able to reopen this bridge to pedestrians and cyclists. I'm wondering if with a further reassessment, putting in chicanes and a bar over the top, whether you might have a further reassessment and allow, in the short term only, cars, as distinct from 80-ton lorries. My second question is to say, to ask Herefordshire Council, has it been able to present to Network Rail, as it promised to do in its report number 1, a feasibility study for a Bailey Bridge or not? Thank you.
If I could answer the second question first, the answer to that is yes, we have provided the details of the Bailey Bridge to Network Rail.
Where will it go? Tell us about it. Point. Yeah. And when?
We're currently considering it and making our response.
Where is the sense of urgency in this? I don't get any sense of urgency.
We'll take that one. Can we take your question as well?
Considering that during the war, people used to put Bailey bridges over large rivers and send heavy tanks over them in a matter of hours. Yeah. Surely, considering the amount of disruption this is causing, it would not have been beyond the wits of a sensible people to put a temporary Bailey Bridge over here in a matter of a week or two, so we can have a normal Christmas in this town.
Yeah.
As the bridge is so much of a problem, why don't we make progress by going back a few decades, level the road and have a level crossing?
Well, in terms of the Bailey Bridge, really very much, because we're putting another structure on top of an existing structure, the very last thing we want to do, and the very last thing that Network Rail would want to do, would be cause damage to their existing bridge. That would be...
You support either end?
I'm afraid...
The answer is no. Why? It is our policy to in fact do away with level crossings. They are one of the most dangerous risks we currently run on the railway. They're a greater risk than any other form of to the railway and the people that use it. There's no way we would replace this bridge with a level crossing.
Fairly convinced in my mind that we're going to be using inadequate diversion routes throughout the winter period. Could I ask Herefordshire Council what arrangements they've made for keeping those roads safe, keeping the verges in good condition, particularly when we have ice and snow?
Yeah, yes. Can we have your question as well, Ording?
Bailey bridges can be erected anywhere. Why can't we put one across from Stow Lane across to the bottom of the bridge here? No. Why can't it just be another diversionary bridge?
Okay. Team?
Right. The condition of the diversion routes. The diversion routes are being inspected regularly, approximately once a month, and repairs being done accordingly. The diversion routes are now also on the winter gritting routes for salt.
Last summer we had severe floods and the government made emergency money available to all those affected by the floods. Can Mr Wiggin secure from our government of our representative funds to build a new bridge?
It made £130,000 available to the whole county, so I don't think you should get blown away by the government largesse despite the severity of the flooding. The issue on this particular thing, the funding is available. Network Rail and the council have got the money to fix it. It's the speed that's the problem. They're not saying they're not going to do it. They're not saying they haven't got the money. Oh, no. If it was simple. Right, hang on a second. Let's ask the team. Is this a matter of money? That's what they want to know. Is this a funding issue?
The question of the funding is one that will become secondary. The first question has got to be to assess to see if we can reopen this bridge to light traffic. Don't get wound up. Don't get sidetracked about the funding, because that will just lead to a lengthier delay. Let's focus on what we can achieve now.
What can you achieve now?
And pull the bloody bridge right off. It won't bloody take you that to spend the bloody money.
The village is going to die on its feet if you don't do something.
That is a completely different crossing. It would take significantly longer to even consider such an alternative crossing to the crossing that we have here.
Right, you wanted a question.
Given that the day before the inspections took place in August, there were 44-ton lorries going over this bridge, is there no way that anyone could do an assessment based on the safety factor? You could put on a safety factor of 10 and still allow 4-ton vehicles going over it.
And the lady next to you?
We're guided by codes of practice and standards that we
But
have
isn't
to
a
abide by.
load test is a recognised method of testing? I'm a chartered engineer myself. Not that I've done a bridge inspection for 20 years, but and it wasn't as complicated as this. But you know, we use load testing. It's in the British standards. So a 44-ton lorry one day and nothing the next seems rather extreme.
Why can't we have 2-ton cars? You're killing the village. All you want to do is wait for Schweppes to get their lorries over here.
It's got nothing to do with Schweppes or HGVs. This is absolutely nothing to do with it at all. This is about our desire to assess this bridge professionally and to look at ways that we can possibly reopen it to light vehicle traffic. If you start going down the HGV Schweppes route, in fact, that's another...
At the moment, we haven't been able to do the calculations. But we can see, our inspectors have been able to see the condition of the bridge. And that condition gives them serious concern. And that concern includes believing that the bridge could collapse at any time. The
combined weight of this number of people must equal a light vehicle, I'm sure.
The fact
That's rubbish.
that the bridge, the fact that there hadn't been an accident on the bridge with HGV vehicles on it could just be a case of that is the way it is.
Of course, you'll be the first one to get me if we open the bridge to a 3.5 tons, and I put this, if we open it to 3.5 tons tomorrow and there's an accident, it's my neck.
Most unlikely though, isn't it?
I have not the slightest idea, I'm not an engineer. But what I can say is the original report, which I've seen, shows holes in some of the metalwork. I am not an engineer, but the engineer said that in the brief check that he did initially in August, he could no longer justify this or give any safety qualification to using this bridge. I then was advised by our own chartered engineers, you need to agree to have this bridge closed because there's a major safety issue. I did. Within days, I was most concerned at the very fact that has been made at the front here, 40-odd tons one day, not even a 10-year-old child, and that's how I put it, not even a 10-year-old child to walk across the next. I couldn't get my head round that. The discussions took place between Network Rail and our own engineers, and Owen Williams, our consulting engineers, and yes, all right, from the initial checks done, we could say it was all right for pedestrians to walk across. I cannot get any engineer on any of those three to say it is all right to take light traffic, whether it's 2 ton, 3.5 ton, 7 ton, etc. As soon as I get any answer on that, then I will ask for that bridge to be open to accept that traffic.